Hey, Korean Cricket here, and this week we are looking at the Shupe deck, which is way more consistent than I initially thought. We'll cover the Shupe options and chances, the card and deck list, the Mulligan, our gameplay plan, how to play against each different matchup, and then we look at an example match. Let's start. When you play Shupe, you can choose between 3 options, playing the Mage, Hunter or Knight option. Each option then lets you choose 1 out of 3 options out of a pool of 5 possible ones. Shupe Mage has the following options. Draw a card is simple and is perfect in combination with Spy in round 2 when you are in control to get 1 card up in round 3. The Charm option is high risk and high reward. Gold cards are not immune to this, so enabling you to charm an enemy Immolative Sabbath to get an insta forfeit most of the time. If you're able to charm an 8-point unit or higher, then this option was already worth it because you made 20 points by taking away 8 of your enemy, put 8 onto your board plus the body of Shupe. In the Shupe deck I'm currently showing you, we don't play any special card, so the play special card option is a dead one for us. Spawn a random hazard on each row can be pretty powerful because it includes all hazards including Dragon's Dream, Pit Trap and so on. Using this mid game is my favorite time to play it because the normal weather will still tick, but Blood Moon and Pit Trap will also find value. The damage option is more like a fallback if you don't get what you want, and for example, weather looks like a bad option as well. You probably won't get the full value from it, but that's still okay. Shupe Hunter is the most consistent choice and features those options. If for any reason you really need Hattori, because you can use him to get Erlin out of the deck or so, then you can use the play a bronze or a silver unit option, but in the current deck it doesn't make too much sense and the other options are just way better. Deal 15 damage is straightforward, making Shupe a 23-point play. The replay option is working exactly like Decoy, but it will buff the unit by 5 and you have the 8-point body from Shupe, making it really good, especially in combination with Hattori. Using this on Hattori enables you to resurrect half of Hunters or double Thunder Bombers for some crazy value. Also, Elven Swordmaster is able to create some value with this in addition to the power to remove an enemy engine. Clearing all hazards from your side and boosting all allies by 1 is not a bad option to have, but always be careful when to use it, because often enemies can reapply weather in some way. 2 times 8 damage is a solid 24-point play, but if there are a lot of 1-point units on the board, you will lose some value. In that case, you could switch to the 15-point damage option and hit a high unit. The Knight option features following. Destroying enemies with 4 or less power may be a good option against monster swarm decks, but in most of my games, the other options were way better. Resetting a unit is a situational option which you don't use most of the time, but against certain decks this can secure the win. Dueling an enemy enables you to remove a buffed up engine while still playing Shupe with 24 points. Strengthening self to 25 is a nice finisher and beats Siri Nova. Making a 12-point unit resilient is not a bad option in theory, but typically you don't want to use this because it's easy to remove and you have a 40% chance to waste Shupe on something that does not get you forward, and it's just way too risky. Consider it more like an emergency exit when you're being bled down to 0 cards in round 2. Let's quickly talk Shupe statistics. If you want to play Shupe for one specific option, you have a chance of 60% to get the right one. If 2 options of the same category, like within Mage, Hunter or Knight, are favorable to you, then you already have a 90% chance to get it, which is pretty decent. The optimal case is to play Shupe when 3 options are favorable, since you're guaranteed to get at least one of them. But enough Shupe for now. Let's check the core of this deck and what makes it so consistent. When we look at the bronze cards, then you can see that there are no engines and that every unit provides solid value on its own. Some have synergies, but those synergies just make the cards even better and you could also play it without the synergies. I'm not going through the abilities of each bronze card, I'm just highlighting the ones which have good synergy or you should look out for. Seppas are in the deck to unbreak your Isengrim if you pull Toriel with Brewer, or your Druid in the Mulligan. Hawker support in combination with Hattori and Elven Swordmaster can create quite some value for you, enabling you to resurrect half of Hunters or deal 8 points of damage with Swordmaster, enabling you to remove an enemy engine. Barclay into any of the dwarves is solid points because he also strengthens them by 3. Playing Hattori into Barclay in the last round is an even more potent play, so try to get Barclay in the graveyard for Hattori to resurrect. Fright Officer lets you fix your hand in the case you had bad luck with the Mulligan and you have, for example, Aeliren in your hand. Officer into your Spy, Sappers or Neophyte generate some nice tempo as well. Your Brewer is used to pull Spy most of the time, because our only special card is Shupe, guaranteeing Yevon to draw it. If we already have Shupe in hand and we don't need a Spy, Brewer enables us to pull any Dwarf either for weather clear or removal, Taruviel for points, Barclay for points, or Hattori into Barclay for a big value spike, especially in round 3. Now let's look at the Mulligan. Depending on the matchup, you want to keep different cards in hand, so I'm now talking about the general guideline, and in the matchup section I'll talk about what needs to change depending on each enemy deck. Cards you want to keep are your Golds, Barclay, Wardancer, Agitator and Yevon. Depending if you get red or blue coin and the state of the game, you then want to get rid of Wardancer in round 2 to force the enemy into the round or round 3 for some extra points. Cards you want to get rid of are Aeliran, your Dwarves and Sappers. The other cards offer solid value, so depending on the matchup you need to decide which one to keep. Against Swarm decks, Doppelfire Bomber will be more useful to you than Mercenary. But against weather decks, Dwarven Mercenary will be good because you can pull your units out of the weather and so on. Take your time in the Mulligan and don't do it quick. Think through every bronze card and the alternatives in your deck and take the ones who are most helpful in the matchup. More on that in the matchup section of this video. Oh, and one more tip. If you didn't blacklist Aeliran, then consider stopping your Mulligan after the second card, or you run into the risk of drawing Aeliran as your third one. Our general game plan looks like this. We play round 1 on red or blue because round length has no impact on our power. However, the shorter round 3 is, the more impact Shupe will have, so we'll try to pull as many cards of the enemy as possible. On red coin, we try to stay on red coin and counterspy the enemy when he does, pulling Yevon with Brewer if the need arises. Using Wardancer, we can force the enemy into round 2 or go one card up in round 3. On blue coin, we simply stay on the blue side, keeping our Spy until he plays his, so we are not running into a dangerous situation like if we already played Spy round 1 and then the enemy spies us in round 2. We want to avoid being bled in round 2 by all means, so I'd rather go down 2 cards down in round 1 and take the round, than being forced to pass early and give the enemy control of round 2. Enemies will see that we are playing Shupe pretty early and therefore they will try to get it out of us before we hit round 3. If you are in need of a power burst, then play Barclay. You should get him out before round 3 anyways, so Hattori has an awesome resurrection target. Depending on the number of dwarves you have in your hand, Aeliran can be a bit tricky to get out. Don't force her out if you don't need the tempo and you think you can get her out in round 3. This may pay off, but your mulligans will be harder. Never forget that Aeliran is still in there, or you may end up with her on hand in round 3. Hattori into Elven Scout can generate 3 elves with 1 card, so you can use that combo as your last resort to get her onto the board. Now let's go through each matchup and see which cards you want to have against them. Greatswords. Keep as much removal as you can in the form of Ida, Shirou, Panther, Archer and Swordmaster. Ida and Panther can kill a Greatsword on their own, Archer and Swordmaster needs to be played immediately after each other, or you use Harker's support to buff up the Swordmaster. Don't waste your removal on ships, always focus your removal on Greatswords because resurrecting a big Greatsword is the winning condition. Wait until the Greatsword counter is at 1, and only then kill the Greatsword to further postpone their setup. Since their strength grows over time, but ours stays the same, we wait until our enemy has some ships and Greatswords on the board, then we pass, forcing him to do the setup again. We keep Shirou and Shupe for round 3 to secure the round by burning his biggest unit and then dropping Shupe for big value. Bran Boat Marauders. Try to remove their boats and try to pass round 1 before they drop their big Marauders. Since they run carry over, you won't gain anything by winning round 1, so it's okay to pass. Using archers in combination with Shirou may allow you to line up a boat and a Marauder, for example, to play a double Scourge for insane value. Other than that, just play for value and focus your damage on cursed or already damaged units so the Marauder don't grow too big. Alchemy. Alchemy hates weather, so don't hesitate to use Shupe to generate random weather after some cards have already been played in round 3 and it's not a super short round. If you don't get the weather option, be sure that the damage option or draw card option is okay as well. A Glaze will be able to hit for a ton of value here by using the silver cards against them. Stack into 2 rows to avoid expired ale and don't kill the 5 power units to maybe break the ointment. Lethal Reach's hand buff. Against this deck, it is very important that you are in control of round 2 so you can drain his Lethal Reach's combo. Your enemy will drop 17 point plus units early, but don't be afraid to use high tempo cards like Isengrim and such to match the tempo. If you need to go 2 cards down, then that's fine, as long as you can dictate the length of round 2. Play round 2 until you're not able to do so anymore and the enemy can take a hero pass on you. Keep Shirou for burning Reaches, or if he has the last card for burning Leffo. Only use Shirou if you can line up a perfect double or triple Scourge, enabling you to go far ahead so that he needs his Leffo Reaches combo to survive. Reveal. Reveal has a big early game push, especially if they're able to set up the Mangonels. Keep Ida and Panther to destroy them, and then follow up with high tempo cards like Barclay so he's not able to pass on you. Often they use Golden Weather, so don't play in all 3 rows. And they are using pretty low units, so if you have Shirou, then your own spy is often the best target. Beware that they also run Villain Threatenmurph or double Scourge with Yennefer, so use your different Shupe options to adapt to the situation and play around that. Henselt. Don't play your low value units or use cards like Dwarf Mercenary and Markham Guard, buff them up to avoid batching rams. Keep removal ready to deny ski machines, so Henselt is only able to pull 1 out of the deck. Keep your spy in hand until he plays Thala, or you may run into Dunbanner. Another way to avoid that is to play Teruviel, because you will be behind in tempo. If you are ahead, you can also play Spotter to delay Dunbanner for another 2 rounds. Coin flip elves. Ignore the Barclay Cleaver combo and just go down on cards. As long as you get control the length of round 2 or you split round 1 well, you will be able to do this. Keep Dol Blafana Bomber to finish off his mercenaries and scouts and therefore deny him swarm value. Since it doesn't really interact with your side of the board, you can just generate value and then pass right before your enemy is ready to play his Vanguard and starts buffing up his elves. Split the round into 3 semi-long rounds and your power will be bigger than theirs. Keep Shirou to destroy Nova and drop Shupe as a finisher. Neckers. Get as many Neckers out as you can in round 1 by using Archers, Swordmaster, Panther, etc. Then catch up in tempo with Barclay and even go down in cards to take round 1. Bleed him of his gold cards like Brewers, Phoenix and such, so he doesn't have a lot of options to pull Neckers in round 3. Keep Shirou to burn away the biggest Ren warrior or Forktail in round 3 and drop Shupe in night form. If you get the reset option, then you'll hit for enormous value here, but dropping 25 points is also good. Moonlight. Keep a Glaze, Ida and Hattori, but don't use them in round 1 or round 2 in the case if your enemy dry passes. If you're able to buff up Hattori to 4, then you can use Ida while keeping Hattori to replay again in round 3. Play into round 1 and get free Vedas out of him, like Moonlights and Dagon or Woodland Spirit. Then pass before the Veda ticks become unbearable. In round 3, try to deny him of every positive Veda on his side by overriding his Moonlight with Fog from Ida or a Glaze into Moonlight into Blood Moon. Through this, he's forced to play 7-point Werewolves and Veda won't be able to tick. If you're lacking Veda clear after he used all his 4 Moonlights, then you can also use Shupe for random hazards, but typically I prefer his Hunter version and dealing some damage. Now let's head into an example game from my daily stream on Twitch so we can all witness the consistency and the power of Shupe. Let's go.
Not all battles need end in
Live in arena, he's a grizzly bear.
wasn't built in a day.
Well, let's see. Again, Morhan, which I hate, is... Don't know about a Glaze. This is maybe, I don't know, don't even know about Shirou. This is good, this is probably good. Probably in Dwarf Dancer though. If in Red Coin especially. Neophyte, let's get rid of this. Yeah, that's good. Let's get rid of Truviel and Alien. Good. So much reveal. Yep. Okay. Shit. Should start with Spy maybe. And then just drop out. I don't know. Let's see. Because we have War Dancer. Let's see what he does. Yeah, he reveals. That means we go out. And then we just play War Dancer.
My men know the meaning of sacrifice.
It's the list again. Actually, in this case, should we stay in? I mean, I can make 16 points and just take it, but then like War Dancer doesn't make sense. It's better this way because then we are staying red on round 2 as well. I think this is important. So let's do this. And let's see. Panther. Okay, I don't think we need that at all. Don't think we need that at all.
Too fast for you,
Let's
Dwan.
see. I'm too fast for you, Dwan. Scorch will help. That's a good thing. Maybe get a decent charm off.
Got sand aplenty in them.
I'm with charm right now. We could actually like get 30 points. But he's controlling round 2, so let's get Alien out first.
What?
I don't think we wanna go for charm.
For the Emperor!
That hurts. Ooh, look at this Scorch. I mean, it's also like a 30 point Scorch. Like all the other Scorches won't be that good. On the other hand, we need Scorch for level reaches. Or is there another way you can avoid level reaches? Is there a way? Does Alsa's Thunder deal on damage? You couldn't just hit our own unit with that. Poor.
With my shield or on it.
Shit. I just gave him a moving condition. Because Scorch was moving condition.
The Isles thank you.
Yeah, he actually thanks me. He knows. He knows that I gave it away. Well. We cannot play Sappers because we are actually ahead in points. Damn it.
Goddamn fools.
Let's see how we deal with this. I'm really not sure how to survive Leveries now.
Ass.
You'll regret your mum ever squirted you out.
There we go. And then I have like a...
152.
This is okay tempo-wise, and then we play this.
Blue
Let's see.
Mountains!
May your sword and arm be one.
At least we're staying ahead for now. Now he's coming with the big guns.
Got sand aplenty.
I think we actually need to play Isengrim. Let's play Isengrim before we get to Ruviel. To Ruviel.
Freiheit Sparley!
Freiheit Sparley. Shupe. Let's see. Oh well, oh well, oh well. Damn, Morvan. Damn Leveries. I mean, can we Shupe it? We could. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see.
Vryed!
And there we go. That's good. So we're still making tempo here. Even though he plays like 15 point, 17 point units. Ah, that will hurt. The good thing is we can pull an agitator with a glaze. We go for recon.
Yes. What is it?
But the agitator is probably better. Wait, let me see. This is what? 7, 11, that's fine. Rawr. So currently we're still ahead, which is good. And if we're not ahead, then we're playing a glaze into agitator. Just to get ahead again. And this is kind of wild card. We just need to hope that it helps us.
Do not assume you can order me around.
There comes a spy, I guess. Of course. Well, we already played spy, right? No, we didn't. Did we?
Let us see.
We played in round 1. That's true. Okay, now we can play the wild card, like, because it doesn't matter anymore.
Glediben Vort!
A wee hint.
Now we go into equal in run 3. Which is awesome for him because he can now pull his left reaches combo. Then I have no idea. He's pulling left reaches now. That's interesting. Okay, let's see. How can we deal with this? Shupe draw could have beaten left reaches. Why? Why would it have been beaten it? I don't get it. Is there any Shupe version which works? Well, I could eat on later. I think we just need to go for tempo now, right?
Lie still.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Not yet recovered.
Coexistence, my ass!
Okay, he will now pull reaches and then I'm minus 30 points. And then I'll need Shupe or something. We'll see. Charm is like way too risky. We have too many bad options, I guess. Oh, even last wishes for reaches. There he is.
Anything in particular interest you?
I mean, minus 21 points. We could even like... Wait, let me think. I mean, if I don't get this or this, Charm is kind of okay. Hazards are, draw a card is okay as well. And because we still have to reroll, actually we could make it without Shupe, right? That's enough, actually. We don't even need Shupe here.
I'm impressed.
Damn. Okay, let's see. We play Ida and it's fine, then he plays this, and then we have Shupe, and then we play Resilient Shupe or something.
The time of the white frost and white light.
And then we pray. Damn.
Blooded one.
He hopes that he gets like... Oh, he knows what he gets, so that's... Hattori would be good, I guess. Barclay's fine as well. Thanks, Killjoy 113 for trying the swarm. Really much appreciated. That's not a good card. All the others are better, right? Except Neophyte. Even that. Ha! I should stop calling stuff.
I shall not fail.
The able ass.
Charm would win me the game. Draw a card. Meh. Let me see. He gets 12 points. That means he is at 19. If above to 25, it's fine. If I duel him, it's fine. So duel and 25 both win me the game. So I should go for Knight. And if I get reset, it's also good. So I think this is the best thing. It's 25, reset, duel. Ha! I got all the stuff I need. Right, 25 is enough. Yeah, I've reset the unit, duel, and like 25. All of those options win me the game. So it was just a 100% chance like to get a good Shupe option, and that's why this deck is so consistent. I'm telling you. Did I convert you into a Shupe follower? What do you think about the deck? Tell me down in the comments below. And if this is your first time here on the channel, I'd love you to subscribe and join our swarm. See you in game.